All right, it's officially swimbait season. The pine trees are releasing their pollen, the birds are singing, it's springtime, and I've been getting a lot of questions on how to rig the Dangerous Swimbait. These are officially out at the retailers. You guys have been buying them, but I'm getting a lot of questions in my inbox on how to rig this thing. So I'm gonna give you my top 3 ways to rig the Unloaded Dangerous Swimbait, and each type of rigging has its downfalls and it's got its strengths. So let's go into the types of rigging right off the get-go here. You've got your belly weighted kind of screw lock swimbait style of head, which is across the board probably the most versatile. You can fish it in grass, you can fish it over laydowns, and it's very weedless, it's very effective, it gives a lot of action in the swimbait. So screw locked belly weight, probably the #1 way to rig the Dangerous Swimbait. Number 2 is just your normal jig head. As you can see here, it's got an exposed hook, so you can't fish it in heavy cover, but it works really, really well on deep points. It works really, really well on deep ledges. It works really, really well for big smallmouthing current. When you just kind of sweep it down there, all the weight is at the nose of the Unloaded Swimbait. And the third way is kind of a custom rigging for the Unloaded Swimbait, and it really taps into my Western experiences of just tweaking with swimbaits over the years. And this is my third most custom way to rig an Unloaded Swimbait, and I call this the WD-40 Line-thru straw rig. Okay, let's touch on the belly weighted screw lock style of head. Day in and day out, this is going to be your best rig. Again, you can throw it in cover, you can throw it in open water, doesn't matter. It works really, really well for big largemouth. So for the 6-inch version of the Dangerous Swimbait, the unloaded version, you're going to want to go with a 7/0 Trokar swim blade. Little trick here when you're rigging this thing, it's pretty straightforward. The screw lock goes in the head of the bait and you just rig it Texas style. But a little trick here that I like to do with this Trokar swim blade, and I've been throwing this this particular hook for a really long time for the hollow bellies and also the Unloaded Dangerous Swimmer. But if you take that hook right there, that's the 7/0 for the 6-inch. What I like to do is I like to break off, especially, most of the time, most of your fishing season, you don't want a lot of flash in a swim bait. I have found the only time I will leave this blade on is when there's a shad spawn, and that is it. Typically in the months of May and into June. But what I like to do is just kind of break off the eye of that swim blade, and it just completely breaks off. Just grab your pliers and just go back and forth on that wire right there. And what that does is it breaks off, and there you go. You have a 7/0 Trokar swim blade hook without the swim blade. So right there, that's just an inline belly style hook that works perfectly for the 6-inch Dangerous Swimmer. And that is the hook I recommend most across the board. They make it in a 1/4 ounce and they make it in a 3/8 ounce. Let the fishery determine which weight and which size. Let the weather determine which weight to throw. Typically windier and deeper, 3/8. Shallower, more stained, go with the 1/4. And this is how you rig it. All right, so as I'm rigging this 6-inch unloaded here, got my 7/0 Trokar. Little tip here: if you happen to have the owner branded hooks, they use this CPS system. It's a centering pin with their screw lock. A lot of times, with the Trokar hook, this screw lock works really well, but a lot of times I'll just take that off and replace it with the owner one because it's got that centering core right there, and it just helps to keep everything straight and in a line, which is paramount when it comes to swimbait fishing. The last thing you want with a swimbait is something that's cockeyed or bent over, because if it's cockeyed or bent, it's not going to swim straight, and the fish simply don't bite it because it's bent. So you want to make it look as natural as possible. Only way to do that is by making sure when you rig this belly screw lock style hook that it's absolutely straight. So I just go right in the nose of it and righty-tighty, and just go ahead and screw lock this whole system. It's very, very simple, all the way down to the nose. Give yourself enough room to tie to the hook directly, and from right there, it's just a Texas rig. You just kind of mark where it goes in with your thumb, right? Real easy. And just go ahead and Texas rig it. Simple. And of course, you know, the swimmer's got a it's got a slot back here, a hook slot, just a nice little resting home for that hook point right there to just kind of hang out and rest, nice and weedless. And that right there is a rigged out, and this one I'll use 9 out of 10 times. That's Swimbait setup right there. 6-inch Swimbait, 2-pounders eat this thing no problem. It's a 7/0 hook. Don't be afraid of that sized hook. 1/4 ounce weight, really simple. I fished this on 17 and 20-pound tests. Throw it where the bass live. Throw it on those laydowns. Throw it on that isolated patch of reeds. Throw it over a clump of grass. Throw it where the bass live, and you will be surprised what comes out and absolutely smokes that thing. 17 to 20-pound fluorocarbon line, straight fluoro. Hardly ever throw braid with this setup. And just grab your flipping stick. Start out with a flipping stick, 7.5 foot heavy action flipping stick. And when you get a bite, you know you get a bite. I mean, they absolutely smoke it. Set the hook, no problems there. So that's the rigging of a belly style hook for the Dangerous Swimbait. I will use that most of the time. And for the 7-inch size, I have found the best hook is the Owner Beast 8/0 hook. And it's kind of weird. Each hook manufacturer has its own standard of sizing. So the 7/0s, 8/0s, 9/0s, they kind of vary all across the board. But all in all, for the 7-inch Dangerous Unloaded Swimmer, the 8/0 Owner Beast Swimbait hook is the best for this size of swimbait. Okay, I got a rigged 6-inch and a rigged 7-inch swimbait. Again, 8/0 in the 7-inch, 7/0 in the 6-inch. I'm not trying to confuse you here, but if you just look at the ratio of the hook to swimbait, you know, you want approximately 1/3 of the swimbait to be hook, and then 2/3 of it to be body, which allows it to have that tail action as well as head action, and that's what gets the bites. And again, the beauty of this is you could fish it anywhere and it gets a lot of bites. Okay, moving on to rigging style number 2. It's just a simple jig head. You could literally use a swim jig head, works really well. You know, some of them have weed guards. I like these little Swimbait heads right here. This is just a custom poured. I picked it up at some Tennessee tackle store way back when. 1/2 ounce and 3/4 ounce. This works really well in and around current. It works really well on shell bars and offshore ledges, deep points, but you know, it's an exposed hook, so you know you're gonna get it caught on a few things. So just be cognizant of where you're throwing this thing. Works really well on that offshore structure. So it's real simple. It's just a jig head, just like you would rig a little saucy swimmer, a little Kitech, just on a bigger version. Again, with that same ratio I talked about, you want about 1/3 of your swimbait rigged, 2/3 of it unrigged and free to swim. So this is just a 5/0 hook and the 6/0, and this is just a simple rigging for a jig head style setup for a swimbait. Okay, just simple rigging tips here for the jig head style of rigging. I like to take a little 1/8 inch off the nose, and basically I want to mate the back of that head to that flat surface of that nose I just cut off right there. So that's just a nice little even mating surface there, and that just stems from all those days out there on Clear Lake in Northern California where I'm having to, you know, super glue my swimbaits to my jig heads. Some of them have screw locks like this. That's completely optional. Makes it a little bit of more of a pain to rig, but it ensures the life of this setup here. So I'm just gonna go in, just rig it just like I would a saucy swimmer or a Kitech with, you know, those small hooks, but just go ahead and go in and out the back there. You know, the type that's got the corkscrew on it, you just want to go ahead and spin it on the shank of the hook. Spin it nice and neat there, and this screw style does a really good job at keeping that swimbait on the jig head just like so. So that's just real simple rigging. And if it looks a little bit off as far as you know, straightness, what you could do is you could kind of pull on that swimbait, pull on that jig head, and straighten it out. It kind of tears the back of it. That's real nice. That's real neat. But the absolute key is making sure that thing is 100% straight, and that'll help you catch more fish on those deeper areas. Okay, rigging style number 3. This is the most custom style or type of rigging. It works really well around docks, overhanging trees or cover. You could skip it really well. It's got the most action, in my opinion. It increases the durability of your swim bait because it's a line through. Every time a fish bites it, your bait sends up the line. It preserves your bait a little more, but there's some work involved. It's a little customization here, and I'm just gonna break it down for you real quick. This is the WD-40 straw line through rigging. And you know, this is really good in the springtime when the fish are looking up, attacking the bait from underneath. Again, it's a line through, good way to load your unloaded swim bait. And of course, we're working on that loaded line through top hook style of swim bait, and that'll be out soon. Until then, this is the rigging that I use and recommend. All right, here you go. Here's your rigging. Simple tools. Grab your toothpick. A lot of, these are hanging around all over the place, the kitchen, tackle boxes, whatever. And that WD-40 straw that every man has in his RV or in his garage, in his house, in his boat. Just pull out that straw just like so and cut off about 1.25 inches of that straw. That's all you need, just that nice red straw right there. I'm gonna grab my toothpick and bore out where that straw is going to lay. So basically what I'm doing is I'm putting this toothpick through the nose of that bait and into the hook cavity of that swim bait, just right down the center. So it's real simple, it looks just like this. Right through his nose. And let's bore out a hole straight down the center into the hook cavity of the swim bait, just like that. And basically we just created a hole for our WD-40 straw to live. Really, really simple. Just go in here, boom. We've just created a line through swim bait. I've been doing this for years. It's very, very effective. The type of plastic that we used in the unloaded swim bait can hold that straw nice. I mean, that is in there. That is in there. And basically what we do is we cut the excess off the nose, boom. We got ourselves a line through swim bait. Look at that, with the unloaded version. And what we do is we grab our line and feed it through the WD-40 straw, and it comes out of the belly just like so. And from here, all you gotta do is grab a little 1/8 or 1/4 ounce tungsten weight. We all have them. I like to put it, this way, where the flat part is towards the nose. We all have these in our tackle box, little tungsten weight, and it just lines up perfectly right there, just like so. So the weight's loaded in there, the straw's loaded in there. I got my line here, and just grab a number 2 or number 1 size treble hook, and tie your treble hook straight to the line. This is such a sneaky way of rigging this bait, and I'll tell you what, I've caught a lot of fish over the years just like this. I remember back in the day, I would literally strip swim baits out of their jig head or strip them out of their harness, glue it back together, and make this rig right here. Some of my buddies out in California, when they see this video, they're gonna be like, dude, I remember you doing that years and years ago. There you go. A line through swim bait. You just turned your unloaded dangerous swim bait into a line through style swim bait. Just like that, and just let it free flow like that. Dude, you could skip this thing anywhere. That's a WD-40 straw right there. Red, of course, red gets bit. It's a color of fish gills, but that right there ensures that the bait swims straight. That weight ensures that it stays belly down and it's nice and balanced. But again, it's got its downfalls. You can only fish this in shallow water, 4 feet or less. You can't fish it around laydowns, can't fish it around cover. So that is my 3rd style of rigging there. So there's my top 3 rigging styles, rigging types for the Dangerous Swimmer, both the 6 and 7 inch unloaded version. So there you have it. Line through, WD-40 rig. You got your simple jig head rig. And you've, of course, have your screw lock belly style rigging. All of them have their purpose. All of them are very, very strong. and all of them catch a lot of fish. So you know, hopefully these 3 rigging types help you catch more fish, and just let the type of fishery that you fish frequently determine which rigging style is right for you. But you can't go wrong with these styles of rigging. Give it a try. Comment down below too. I mean, this is just a simple tip video. Comment down below on the type of rigging that works best for you. I'll do my best to respond to the comments down below. I always like hearing from you guys, and also on Instagram and Facebook, I love it when you guys tag me on your fish catches with this swim bait. It really does warm my heart when I see 5 and 6 pounders with that bait hanging out of the fish's mouth. So we've been working hard. The loaded version's coming soon, but until then, have fun with the unloaded version. The rigging styles are endless. Have fun with it.